Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Well, the calendar says that it's spring, but a cold, wet storm is headed for San Diego this weekend. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Rain or shine, some events will still go on as planned. KPBS reporter John Carroll has more on when the storm is expected to get here and how much precipitation it may leave behind.
If your weather plans include anything outdoors, better think again.
It does look like a washout on Saturday.
National Weather Service meteorologist Alex Tardy says rain will start tonight, then hang out throughout the weekend.
And all day Saturday, we could have a pretty steady rain, light to moderate rain. So everyone's going to be wet. It'll be more than just a shower or two.
Tardy says things will turn colder on Sunday, with snow in the mountains above 5,000 feet, on and off showers in the lower elevations. This weekend's possibly inclement weather could upend a lot of plans around San Diego, including something that happens every year right here atop Mount Helix. It's the Easter Sunday sunrise service. So what happens if it rains?
We have been going here at Mount Helix Park since 1917 was the first sunrise Easter service.
Krista Powers is the executive director of the Mount Helix Park Foundation.
We are rain or shine because by the time we book trolleys and shuttles and bathrooms and things that just we can never receive refunds on. And if we shut down every time there was a scary, hint of rain or whatever, we'd never have anything up here.
So you might not see the sunrise up here on Sunday morning, but the service will go on. Back to the precipitation prognostication, and Alex Tardy says this one will leave its mark.
When it finally drizzles out and ends on Monday, we are looking at all locations in San Diego County between 1 and 2 inches of rain. So it's a healthy storm.
Tardy says all those clouds will leave behind a silver lining. He says we can look forward to sunny skies and warmer temperatures rolling in midweek. John Carroll, KPBS News.
San Diego city officials are encouraging everyone to prepare ahead of the storm. City crews from the transportation and stormwater departments are cleaning storm drains and inlets with a history of debris buildup. They are also sweeping streets. Sandbags are available at select recreation centers during operating hours. However, sand is not provided. You can report storm-related problems or issues by calling the city's Public Works Dispatch at the number that you can see on your screen, 619-527-7500, or you can use the Get It Done app.
I'm Ariella Scalise, and coming up tonight, we are starting to see the showers push on in. We dropped to a low of about 56, and unfortunately, it's going to be a pretty miserable weekend with periods of moderate to even heavy rainfall. The mountains could see some pretty heavy, wet snow moving on through, but it will clear up. I'll let you know when that's coming up.
There's another twist in the sexual assault lawsuit against former San Diego County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher. He has now filed a complaint accusing his accuser of defamation. Fletcher says it was Gracia Figueroa who initiated contact with him in 2021 on Instagram, and he claims that Figueroa pursued him for more than a year and, quote, consented to their interactions. Fletcher alleges Figueroa tried to force him to pay her millions of dollars, and when he refused, he says she tried to ruin his career and reputation by falsely accusing him of sexual assault. Figueroa called Fletcher's cross-complaint absurd and another intimidation attempt to silence her. The road to reopen Baltimore Port began today, but officials say it could take months, if not years. But there are signs of progress. Laura Aguirre has more on the salvage operation, the timeline, and the potential cost.
We're talking 3,000 to 4,000 tons of steel that's sitting on top of that ship. So we've got work to do.
which is why floating cranes are now taking position in Baltimore's harbor. They will be central to the daunting salvage operation ahead.
Step one of that is we're going to clear the debris from the channel. Step two is we're going to remove the vessel. And step three is remove the rest of the bridge debris from the waterway.
And when you have a chance to see that wreckage up close, you fully understand the enormity of the challenge.
8 people fell into the water when the dolly slammed into the bridge early Tuesday. 2 survived. 2 who died were recovered Wednesday. And search efforts for 4 others who are missing and presumed dead have been paused. The governor has repeatedly credited the fast action of those who stopped bridge traffic with preventing a higher death toll.
Even after the bridge had collapsed, had that traffic not been stopped in the darkness, cars would have continued to come. So the life-saving work that they did cannot be overstated.
One Uber driver says she was among the first vehicles stopped.
If my passenger wasn't a little bit late coming out to the car and getting into it, we probably very well could have been on the bridge when it collapsed.
The Biden administration has approved the state's $60 million request for the initial recovery and salvage operations.
This work will not just take weeks. We have a very long road ahead of us.
I'm Laura Aguirre for KPBS News.
Today, several organizations gathered in prayer and support for Palestine. The Palestinian Youth Movement led a rally outside the county building this afternoon. Today marks the 3rd Friday of the holy month of Ramadan and commemorates Land Day. It's the 48th anniversary of the first large-scale protest organized by Palestinian citizens of Israel. Organizers say this year holds even greater significance in light of the conflict in Israel.
We're here to not only gather in prayer to pray for what is happening in Gaza to our Palestinian, brothers and sisters, but also to remind the community here that the Palestinian community in Gaza that is experiencing this ongoing genocide, that we haven't forgotten them, and that we're here to continue to remind the San Diego community of what's still happening in Gaza.
Ramadan continues through April 9th. Come Monday, some fast food workers in California will have one of the highest minimum wages in the nation. KPBS North County reporter Alexander Nguyen looks at the impact of the pay increase on workers and the economy.
Well, everybody's happy. Sergio Valderrama works at this McDonald's in Del Mar. He says he and his co-workers are excited about the minimum wage increase.
It's going to make a lot of our lives better.
Starting April 1st, many fast food workers will be making at least $20 an hour, $4 higher than the state's minimum wage of $16. That's when Assembly Bill 1228 goes into effect. Governor Gavin Newsom signed the bill into law last year. The law also created a fast food council that has the power to increase wages each year through 2029. Maria Maldonado is the field director for the California Fast Food Workers Union.
They want not only $20, but also a seat at the table. That a lot of people are talking about $20, but it's not the only goal for the workers. It's to improve the conditions.
Not all fast food workers will see a pay increase. The law only applies to national fast food chains with 60 or more locations. It also excludes chains that have bakeries, like Panera, and restaurants within grocery stores. But the industry is also pushing back, saying it could force some franchisees to close their doors.
When the minimum wage went up in 2015 with $15, the corporations were saying we're gonna go broke or franchisors, right? And it didn't happen.
University of San Diego economics professor Alan Jin says there might be some price increases, but overall workers will be better off.
The restaurant industry might raise their prices to counteract in this higher minimum wage, but in the overall grand scheme of things, I think that would be minimal then in terms of the overall cost of living.
For Valderrama, the extra pay means he can work fewer hours and spend more time with family. He says it's a myth that fast food jobs are for teenagers looking to make some spending money.
They're hiring regular people that need to earn a living, like me. I don't go to school anymore, so I'm not here for a part-time. I'm here so that I can actually make some money to bring home and pay for bills, food, and everything else. Right? Basically, my everyday living.
At the minimum wage of $16 an hour, a full-time worker makes roughly $33,000 a year, well below the state's poverty line of nearly $40,000 for a family of 4. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
People impacted by the January floods in San Diego County are getting some help paying for food. Nearly 13,000 disaster CalFresh applications were approved and $5.7 million was paid out. CalFresh is a state program that provides financial assistance to low-income households to buy food. The county says overall CalFresh enrollment numbers are at a record high with more than 389,000 enrolled as of March 1st. That is about a 4% increase over last year. Not even the Easter Bunny can outrun inflation. You can expect your Easter basket to cost a lot more this year as cocoa prices rise. But as Ivan Rodriguez reports, that's not stopping consumers from spending a record amount for the holiday.
Easter spending is hopping off the charts this spring.
It is a holiday that a lot of consumers do get into the spirit for.
Americans are expected to shell out nearly $180 per person on Easter-related items this year, bringing total national spending to $22.4 billion, according to the National Retail Federation. While those numbers are slightly down from last year, the NRF says it's still the third highest per person spending on record. Consumers are expected to spend $7.3 billion on food, with an additional $3.1 billion expected to be spent on candy. And if you're hunting for chocolate bunnies and eggs this year, you may experience sticker shock.
It's a massive issue for the industry.
Retail chocolate prices rose 11.6% across all of 2023. Drastically outpacing the 3.4% annual rise in the overall consumer price index. That's due to the soaring price of cocoa, which is a key ingredient for chocolate.
It's a classic climate change issue of crazy weather. Too wet, too dry, and therefore crop yields just shrink.
Cocoa futures have more than doubled since January, hitting a record high of $10,000.
Currently, they've broken all notions of what a record was as of about 6 weeks ago.
Robert says as cocoa supply remains low and prices soar, some chocolatiers will likely explore cost-cutting alternatives, from shrinking product sizes to promoting other sweets like gummies. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
I'm William Brangham. Tonight on the NewsHour, how so-called heavy industries contribute to global warming and the efforts to curb their emissions. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
This week, KPBS is exploring mental health in schools. Reporter Katie Heisen visited an El Cajon school to see how they're addressing the issue head-on with their curriculum.
Eje Charter School students, kindergarten through 8th grade, play in the schoolyard.
Buenos dias! Good morning!
Principal Ariana Gonzalez gives the morning message. Today is about self-discipline. The students discuss.
So over here, we're going to have Solana share out what is self-discipline.
At Eje, students learn these social-emotional skills every day. It's baked into the curriculum. In Jennifer Turner's 3rd grade classroom, they circle up to share what color they're feeling that day. One student says he's in the blue zone.
I'm tired because he blew my eyes. Oh, you didn't have a good night's sleep? No.
Celeste Gonzalez is in the yellow zone.
It's like a little bit in the yellow zone because I feel silly. You feel a little bit silly?
They talk about what they can do to get into the green zone, calm and ready to learn. The whole class decides to take a brain break and dance. Celeste tells me she likes circle time.
Because I like to talk about my emotions, and I also like to listen to other children's emotions to support them.
I ask her what she does when the emotions feel big.
There's this place called Safe Zone where if you're feeling really sad or something, you can sit there and you can just calm down there and calm down yourself. And so then when you feel calm, then you can just come back and start learning.
Turner also teaches tools like asking yourself, how big is your problem? And the 3rd graders use them, even on her.
I came in and I told the students, I'm really frustrated because my car got towed and, I was really angry. And they're like, how big is that problem? Is someone in danger? And I was like, no, it can be solved.
Celise's mom, Melissa Gonzalez, says Celise brings these tools home with her.
her ability to articulate her emotions has improved a lot. And she can sit down and talk and sometimes go on and on a while about how she's feeling, which is really good.
At Eje, social emotional learning looks different at different ages. They've incorporated an entire middle school class on managing stress.
Strategies you can use to manage stress in your life.
In Cyan Fairley's 8th grade classroom, they brainstorm what they're most stressed about and how they might handle it. Jalen Maldengasang writes that she's most stressed about social media, tests, Fortnite, and what she calls drama. To cope, she might go for a jog, talk to someone, or take some deep breaths.
I'm definitely focusing on my breathing and how to stop that stress, and that really helps me while I'm doing my homework.
Research backs what Jalen is describing, that social emotional learning improves academic performance, and other things too, like attendance and behavior in class. Fairley doesn't think of it as something extra she's asked to do as a teacher, but as a foundation of teaching.
It may seem like a lot, but I think it's totally worth it, and I can't expect my student to be in the class and willing to participate and to learn if they're not well.
She says the need for social emotional learning became even more apparent during COVID.
Because they were at home, they didn't really get to see their friends. They had classes over Zoom, but it wasn't the same.
The school created a new role, Dean of School Culture, and hired Paulina Isidro. I asked her how common this kind of social emotional curriculum is in schools.
Overall, this is a trend that we're seeing in education, but here at Eje, I think that the reason why the school was born and built was truly for supporting students that were historically not served.
Concerned parents created the school 30 years ago. Schools in the area were being shut down because of low performance. But she says the real issue was a lack of bilingual education. Many of the displaced students were Spanish-speaking. Eje's 8th graders, like Jalen, will have to bring all their tools to their new schools next year to overcome the racial disparities that remain. The neighboring district, San Diego Unified, failed to graduate Hispanic students at a rate 3 times that of white students. Katie Heisen, KPBS News.
Starting today, enforcement is beginning for an updated sidewalk vending ordinance. Vendors are now required to buy a permit. They cost $38 a year. Food vendors are also required to obtain a San Diego County health permit and food handler's card. Our media partner KGTV spoke with some community members in the past who were not happy about vendors in Mission Beach.
Continued vending has ruined the grass. The entire perimeter where they've all set up over and over, the grass is all gone. So it's going to take tens of thousands of dollars to restore this park back to its former glory.
And the ordinance also set up parameters for where vendors can operate. For example, vendors can operate 15 feet away from another vendor, 50 feet from a major transit stop, and 100 feet away from any sidewalk or street closure. This year marks the 20th anniversary of Petco Park, and another big crowd is expected tonight. SDSU's Mira Kopik talks about the stadium's legacy as an economic force in the Friday Business Report.
When Measure C was passed to fund the park, there were promises that there would be a lot of development around the stadium, both housing and retail. And that's been the case. The Downtown San Diego Partnership estimates that during game days in the baseball season, there's an increase of 35% in foot traffic in and around Petco Park. For the last 20 years, a lot has been invested over on the East Village side of downtown San Diego. Over $1.2 billion has been invested. So now downtown has become this great place to live, to work, and to play. And there's enough of a base population that could support those businesses. And when you have these 100 days where there are thousands of more people, it becomes very, very powerful for downtown. In fact, to the point where now the next step in this evolution of downtown is going to be making the Fifth Avenue and the gas lamp a pedestrian corridor to make it even more not just pedestrian friendly, but friendly for business.
It's the end of an era for the San Diego Sockers. They're about to play their final home games of the regular season at Pechanga Arena before moving to a brand new arena in Oceanside. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne caught up with the team.
The San Diego Sockers already practice and live in North County. So a move to the new Front Wave Arena in Oceanside already feels like home.
We're all excited, more closer to home. We can't wait to get started, get all the fans in, the old fans, get some new fans, and we're all excited. We all talk about it every day.
It's another chapter in the history of the San Diego Sockers. You know, I was here when we played at Del Mar Arena and now the Sports Arena. And we're off the Front Wave. And so, you know, I think Front Wave is going to give us an opportunity down the road to recruit the best players, to play in the best facility in one of the best cities in the country.
You know, won 12 championships in Pechanga Arena, so it's a little bittersweet, you know, coming up and playing our last regular season game in there. So
Sean Bowers is the team's general manager. He said the decision to move to Front Wave Arena was an easy one, and one that he's been looking forward to since he took on the job.
Because we don't get the dates, number one, in Pechanga Arena, but number two is, you know, the biggest cost in our budget is rent. And so for us, you know, it's kind of twofold. But dates are important, you know, instead of playing on a Monday night or a Wednesday night, now we're going to have picks of a Friday night, Saturday night.
With first dibs on better days, the Sockers hope loyal fans will make the trip to Front Wave Arena. But they also hope the move means growing their fan base.
Clientele is going to change, our fan base is going to change, but also saying that I think it's just going to get better, not only better, but bigger. Just going to have more people because we're right next to the SoCal Sports Complex. We're only, you know, 25 miles from Orange County, Temecula, Marietta.
Nonetheless, the move is an exciting one for the team and the future of Major Arena Soccer.
It's just a whole new level. I mean, there's no other arena that's being built for an MASL team other than the San Diego Sockers. And so, you know, it's kind of put us up on the pedestal.
Front Wave Arena is expected to open in September. Pechanga Arena will host the team's final home game this Saturday, and Game 2 of the West semifinals on April 8th. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
Let's break it down with our weather headlines as we are tracking this strong Pacific storm making its way slowly further inland here, spreading areas of widespread moderate to even heavy precip. And for the mountains, that means some areas of heavy wet snow with the gusty wind. So you can see tonight as the wind's kicking up in Mount Laguna, the precip moving from west to east. So Oceanside, San Diego, Chula Vista, by tonight, you're already getting the showers. And then as we head into the day tomorrow, that stretches into areas like Mount Laguna and Borrego Springs. 61 with the showers as we head into the day tomorrow. How much rainfall are we talking about? Well, we're in an area here of about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, but you head closer to some of the mountains and we could see closer to 2 to 4 inches of rain, or accurate, the local storm max up to 8 inches of rain. Looking at the flood watch, what we can expect as we head into the rest of our weekend is those flooding concerns here into San Diego, into Chula Vista, and even over closer to Mount Laguna, where we'll see the heavy rain pushing on through. But it's the snow that we're mostly concerned about in areas like Mount Laguna. That winter storm watch with heavy wet snow that could cause issues when it comes to traveling. That winter storm watch goes until Sunday afternoon. So notice a weekend washout along the coast. Things stay cool with downpours and even a thunderstorm at times, but big improvements as we head into the middle of next week. As we head further inland, it's going to be rainy Saturday and a few thunderstorms possible as we head into the day on Sunday. Maybe a passing shower or two early in the week, but then warmer and much drier as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. Heads up for the mountains, the wind really kicking up throughout the day on Saturday, and then we're going to be tracking some snow on Sunday. Still cold with a shower or two to start the week, but then improvements as we head into the middle of next week. And into the deserts where it's just going to be cloudy and cold on Saturday, but Sunday we could see some areas of rain and then drying up. Look, we're back to 90 degrees by the middle of next week. For KPBS News, I'm Ariella Scalise.
Well, it fuels many of us each morning with an extra rush of energy. Coffee. But how did that magical brown drink become so ubiquitous? As KPBS reporter Jacob Ayers shows us, one San Diego restaurant is providing clients with traditional coffee ceremonies and a history lesson.
From no-frills black to lots of cream, sugar, and flavorings, coffee can take many forms. But some are more powerful and sacred than others.
This is a traditional Ethiopian coffee. So this is a coffee ceremony.
The birthplace of coffee traces back to one place, Ethiopia.
Coffee from Kaffa, the place Kaffa. So the name also. So they got it from there, and then we bring from that area the original one the organic one.
That's where husband and wife Fekadu and Alem are from, and their San Diego Addis restaurant recently relaunched its traditional Ethiopian coffee ceremonies. They say it's a way for them to stay connected with their culture and share it proudly with the community.
We're here for everybody, so this is welcoming for everybody. This is everybody's house.
This isn't your average cup of joe. It's a slow 3-cup process meant to fill the senses and to be savored alongside Ethiopian snacks at each step.
So they sit down around me, so I have to roast the beans, and then I have to introduce about the coffee, a little bit of Ethiopia, and then we start from there.
The couple says coffee ceremonies are an important daily ritual in Ethiopia, to gather with family and friends and talk about life's changes. It's sort of like group therapy.
Discussing every issues, anybody's issues. You bring it here, everybody discuss, and then they'll give you suggestions from their experience.
Fair warning, says the couple. The coffee beans are finely ground directly into the water, so that first cup has a powerful kick.
This is stronger. This is like maybe 4 times the Starbucks.
Reservations are recommended for the ceremonies held every Saturday at the restaurant on El Cajon Boulevard. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
Oh, that coffee looks good, and you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.